Alright boys, we've got a lot of Sandbox changes today. This is update 2.5.0.1. A lot of numbers, but let me say boys, this is a hefty Sandbox update. A lot of things are changing, so let's jump into the Sandbox. First up guys, we've got weapons here. Ace of Spades will no longer 2-tap when paired with One-Eye Mask. Vengeance perk if the victim has at least 4 resilience. Memento Mori is now restored to 6 bullets, but bullets are now lost on stow. That is a really big deal, and this is going to really take away from a lot of people's playstyles that like to swap between either recluse or shotguns. You will not have Memento Mori when coming out of a swap. So if you're looking to take advantage of Memento Mori going forward, you're going to need to keep Ace of Spades out on you at all times. Lord of Wolves. Release the Wolves perk can now be activated on special reload instead of on kill. Normal burst damage has been decreased by 20%. Release the Wolves non-precision damage has also been decreased by 23%. Precision damage decreased by 34%. So a pretty hefty nerf here guys on Lord of Wolves. I am curious about the Release the Wolves perk in terms of its activation. Instead of it actually activating on kill, which is what's in the trait itself now, as it requires you to defeat an enemy to actually double the number of projectiles per burst for a certain duration, but now it requires a special reload. And again, I think that special reload, like we've read in previous TWABs, is similar to like Hard Light, where you hold down the reload button and you change the elemental type. Instead here at Lord of Wolves, you'll actually be able to change the number of projectiles you shoot out. So if you want the full burst of that Release the Wolves perk activated, then you can do so. If you want to still maintain its regular shot pattern though, you can leave it on that as well. Again, we'll have to test it out and see exactly how Lord of Wolves is behaving today to get a true understanding of it. Moving on to Sleeper Simulant, they reduce the bounce damage against bosses, mini bosses, and vehicles by 95%. They also reduce precision multiplier, but increase base damage by 66%. So it's not going to do as much crit damage, but it will do more body shot damage. They state here that this change results in precision shots dealing approximately the same damage as before, but you are punished less for landing non-precision shots. I mean, depending on how much they reduce their precision multiplier is going to be the deciding factor of whether or not our DPS here is equivalent to what it was previously. Moving on to Sturm and Drang. Storm and Stress Max overcharge rounds have been increased to 99. Sturm overcharge buff text now displays the number of overcharge rounds that you have. Overcharge damage has also gotten an increase of 100% inside of PvE. They also fixed an issue where a 10% precision damage bonus remained on Sturm when it had used all of its overcharge rounds. Oh man, that's a shame. I really like the 10% precision damage bonus because it applied in both PvP and in PvE. But overall guys, this weapon is getting a hell of a buff. Again, increasing those Sturm overcharge rounds to 99. Essentially, you'll just be able to run in there, clear a room out with Drang, which should be pretty easy, especially if you roll it with something like Rampage with Rampage Spec, and then continue to clear everything else out with Sturm once you cap it out at 99 overcharge rounds. It's looking to be pretty nasty. I can't wait to use it. Moving on to Whisper of the Worm. The White Nail perk now loads the magazine from reserves. They also increase ammo reserve to max 18 without armor perks. Fixed an issue where White Nail would fail to activate under certain network conditions. Obviously, this is an aim at some of the more hardcore players that utilize Whisper for like solos. I mean, they're increasing the max reserve here pretty high. I mean, back to what it originally was at 18. Again, like we said in the past, it would have been nice if White Nail could indefinitely give you back ammo on the last 3 bullets. Like if you got to the final 3 rounds of this weapon and you just keep hitting crit after crit after crit without messing up, I feel like at that point you just got to give it to him. But yes, Whisper of the Worm 100% is getting a pretty massive nerf here. Moving on to Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten. Oh, this one's a big one, boys. RPM changes to 150. Originally it was 180. Damage was adjusted to match other 150 round per minute lightweight hand cannons. So it is going to get an increase in damage there, boys. Approximately going to be hitting 68 per crit and 43 per body inside of Crucible. Originally it was hitting 57 per crit and 39 per body. Now Bungie states here that these weapons will retain the precision sub-archetype benefits and firing animation. Magnificent Howl has also been reworked. Rapidly landing 2 precision hits now increase damage and range on your next shot. The damage increase affects only non-precision damage, but the bonus range is applied regardless. All right, so they're actually going to increase that range there. And again, I've talked about this in the past. I was concerned with damage fall off. If you were going to do this double crit to body combo, if we were to experience even a little bit of damage fall off, we would be screwed. But by increasing this range here, I think this is their way of making sure that that body shot damage when proccing this perk will be its full damage. They also fixed an issue where Magnificent Howl would be slow to activate under certain network conditions. Yes, I'll be surprised if this is actually fixed. The infamous 357s, right? How many times have you hit 3 crits in a row? Magnificent Howl is obviously procced, but it just doesn't do the damage, right? Maybe they fixed it. We'll see though. Either way it goes, the main thing to take away from this is that the weapon will definitely behave like a 180 still, and the fire animation will remain the same, but it will shoot as fast as a 150. It's gonna throw a lot of us off for a while. Some have speculated that it's actually gonna be a buff on PC and more of a nerf on consoles with this change, but we'll be checking it out later this week. Moving on to fusion rifles. Damage increase in PvE. High impact got an increase by 30%, precision increased by 44%, adaptive increased by 44%, and rapid fire increased by 47%. Fellas, if you don't got loaded question, I highly advise you get it, because I think it's going to be pretty nasty. Yes, it's a high impact fusion, so it didn't necessarily get the largest of buffs here, but I'm pretty sure that reservoir perk should be double dipping on this increase to fusion rifles, so you should be getting a lot more damage from something like loaded question. Now, exotic fusion rifles. Note, changes to exotic fusion rifles are due to archetype tweaks and not direct changes. Most of these are minor. So Yotip changes affect PvE only. Impact damage was increased by 10%. Detonation damage reduced by 15%. Damage over time damage increased by 10%. And they stated at the bottom that this results in an overall 5% increase in total damage. Now moving on to Merciless. Damage of first bullet at slowest charge time has been increased by 30%, which decreases as the weapon reaches its fastest charge time. Damage at the fastest charge time is unchanged. Alright then, that's actually a really good buff here for Merciless, and I wonder how the perk there on Merciless is going to activate with that increase in 30% damage. Was it Impetuous? Is that the perk? Am I saying that right? It's the kill clip perk found on Merciless essentially, but I wonder if it's going to scale with that 30%. Could be pretty nasty, boys. Moving on to Telesto. Impact damage increased by 49%. Hell yeah! Detonation increased by 3%. This is an overall damage increase of 4%. Again, guys, these are changes in PvE only. I hope to God, because I don't want to see Telesto with a 49% increase in impact damage in PvP. Almost certain this is just for PvE. Moving on to submachine guns. Minor adjustments to idle pose for SMG archetype to help set it apart from the rifle archetypes. Updated firing animation to better reflect the shooting experience of an SMG. Obviously, guys, these changes are being made because we have new SMGs coming into the game. There's also some speculation that one could be an exotic SMG. But again, guys, this is only a pose change. Now, dev commentary here, they state that these changes apply to the hip fire only and do not impact accuracy. The goal of this change was to enhance the feeling of shooting an SMG. We've added a random fire pose that will add variation and make the gun feel a little more unstable and lively in your hands. We've also added a progressive fire animation that will give your Guardian a feel of gripping and controlling the more active weapon during sustained fire. Yay! Recoil, baby! Everybody loves it. I don't know, guys. I mean, we'll just have to play with this and see. A random fire pose that will add variation, so every now and then the gun will just smack you in the lip. I don't know. Could be cool. Variation, boys. Moving on to swords. Swords in general are getting an ammo capacity increase to a max of 70 and starting ammo increased by 10. Black Talon, though, is getting ground and aerial projectile ammo cost increase from 3 to 4. Adaptive frames are also getting a ground uppercut ammo cost increase from 3 to 4. Aggressive frames now lunge at a target with their aerial light attack. Light attacks consolidated into a single damage event. Slam attack consolidated into a single damage event. And slam attack ammo costs increased from 3 to 4. Our lightweight frames are also getting a lot of different changes here. Tuned damage output, ground light attack increased by 17%, aerial light attack decreased by 21%, ground dash attack increased by 87%, aerial dash attack increased by 78%, but no ammo aerial light attacks have been decreased by 49%, as well as all other no ammo attacks decreased by 15%. Ground dash attack ammo costs increased from 2 to 3. Lightweight frames are looking to be pretty impressive. That's some pretty massive buffs here, boys. I'm gonna check it out. They also fixed an issue where magazine size indicators didn't display the proper arrows when changing magazine perks on the Breath of Dragon and Trackless Waste SMGs, and True Sight's weakened enemy highlights or glowing will no longer appear to flicker erratically. This is just some general fixes, guys. I didn't even know that was an issue. Now, moving on to super generating exotic armors. Skull of Dire Ahamkara, Orpheus Riggs, Phoenix Protocol now grants super energy back on diminishing returns, making it rare to get a full super back. Shards of Galanor and Ursa Furiosa had their super gains caps reduced to be on parity with other super exotic changes. Okay. Adjusted the amount of Spectral Blade super restoration when defeating enemies with Gwizin's Vest. I like that. We'll just have to see what that actually means. Now, moving to what the actual chart is for Spectral Blades for those that actually use it in PvP. I know there's not many of you, but when defeating enemies with Gwizin's Vest, 1 PV kill equals 11.1% previously. And this is what the chart looks like for the rest of it. Now, at the bottom here, and no relation to any of this, they state here that a minor adjustments have been made to heavy ammo finder perks. Not sure what that adjustment even means. Maybe it'll work consistently now. I don't know. Maybe that's what that means. Moving on to Gemini Jester. Increased duration of disorient and no radar effect by half a second. Oh boy, we're gonna be in a Jester meta now. It's gonna be like year 1 all over again. Aeon gauntlets. Potency of energy given by Aeon arms increased for all classes. Holy shit, boys. I didn't even know Bungie knew what these exotics were. These poor bastards have never seen a buff. Titans now trigger Aeon arms off of melee kills instead of a barricade, and they receive melee energy. Oh man, I might actually use some of these. Visual effects on Aeon gauntlets altered for all classes to distinguish between a player whose energy is full or not. Oh my god, Bungie just balling out right now. I'm so happy. All right, now moving on to abilities. Been some ability changes here. Fixed an issue where 6-shooter refunds a bullet when destroying Titan barricades. Haha, that's right, hunters. Gonna just have to use 2 bullets. Fixed an issue where Entropic Pull melee and Devour melee were applying a physics impulse that pushed enemies away. I actually really like that. As long as it applied damage, I'm okay with that. You know, but when you actually push an enemy away, especially if you like push them into a wall and get the misadventure kill on them, pretty awesome, man. Fixed an issue where using Chaos Reach with Geomax stabilizers could sometimes lead to weapons disappearing. Quite a bug there, boys. Fixed an issue where players could gain full grenade energy when canceling out of Nova Warp Super. Fixed an issue where Combination Blow's melee damage buff was buffing the Arc Staff Super in PvP environments. That explains so much. They state here though that this was already previously addressed inside of PvE. Now they're just actually addressing it in PvP. Also, moving between overlapping Wells of Radiance no longer led to removing the buff earlier than expected. Okay. Good changes. Liking them. Moving on to the investment portion of today's Sandbox update, Clans. Clans XP has been reset for Season 7, and a newly weekly bonus bounty has been added for Season 7. This bounty is available at the max clan rank. Emotes. The luxurious toast emote now allows players to sit for as long as they desire. So I mentioned it before, but yeah, arguably the best change they've made in the entirety of Destiny 2. Eververse. The Eververse storefront has been updated. Actually looks kind of dope. And Cage exotic stash items have been added to Eververse Bright Dust inventory for weeks 1 through 4. Now, as far as the rewards UI, the pursuits inventory has been moved to the director menu. That's interesting. Players may now hold up to 63 pursuits at a given time. Catalysts are now tracked on the Triumph page. Updated Taken and Fallen armor mods to follow the same naming convention. All shader items have had their icons updated. Fix an issue where the action of applying shaders, ornaments, holograms, or using consumables was getting canceled and not applying on the first attempt. Oh man, dude, I'm so happy about that. They did state here though that there will still be actions that will cancel the apply function, such as hitting the preview button, exiting inventory early, letting up on the apply button too early, or completely moving the cursor off the item being applied. I feel like Bungie is saying, hey, if it's not applying after this point, you're just being a dumbass. Vendors. Benedict 99 is relocated to Annex in the tower. The Gunsmith now offers 3 daily and 2 weekly weapon focused bounties. rewarding enhancement cores, mod components, and mods. Thank God. Scrapper bounties will no longer drop when dismantling gear, and existing scrapper bounties will remain in your inventory until expiration or completion. Now, to Xur. Now properly offers random rolls on exotic armor after refusing to do so in Destiny 2 Update 2.2.1. We've had a chat with him. If something like this happens again, he'll be in trouble. Now, the Drifter and Vanguard weekly reward packages from a Legion quest have been retired with the conclusion of Season of the Drifter, fixed an issue where some players wouldn't see updated vendors and bounty lists after the weekly reset occurred. Now moving on to some other activity related changes. Crucible. Players can no longer win Crucible matches by getting kills after the timer has expired. Yes, we had that happen the other day in competitive. We actually tied. The other team got a kill right after the timer had already finished, and they won the game. And we actually lost rank points, which really sucked. So really good fix here. Other than that, guys, there's a couple other activity changes that you can go check out. The Sandbox patch notes are in the description below if you want to go look at it for yourself. But for everyone else, man, good luck today, guys. I'm actually bowing up, getting ready to go hit the raid right now. So fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.